Hello and welcome to Knitting on the Float. My name is Tracy and I'm your host. I am coming to you from a beautiful sunny day in November in the Vancouver area. If the sunshine is out in November, I will definitely take it. It was very, very cold this morning, but this afternoon it's been quite nice, about 8 degrees Celsius. I hope that wherever you are having a wonderful November and that you've had a wonderful fall so far. It has been a while since we visited last, but while there haven't been many podcasts, I will say there has been a lot of knitting that has happened. So I have lots of things to share with you, including all of the Knitvent projects. In the past, I have shared the Knitvent projects as they've been released week by week, but this past fall I returned to school and I'm doing a musical theater diploma program, which is pretty intense. I'm learning how to dance. I am getting training on singing and acting. It's a lot of fun, but it definitely takes a lot of time and is my priority right now. So knitting's been happening, podcasting, not so much. Maybe in December we'll see each other a little bit more. For now though, let me tell you where you can find me. I am Tracy RR on Ravelry and I am at Knitting on the Float on Instagram. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. This is a podcast that used to be a weekly podcast, but unfortunately because I have returned to school, it's fallen a little bit off the wayside and it's not happening as regularly, and I've got to try and figure that out. So welcome if you are new, and if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for your patience. I am so happy that we're finally able to sit down and spend some time together again, and I am so excited to share what I have on the couch with you. And it's a lot of Knitvent, but there are a couple of other things happening as well there too. Plus, I have a brown paper package. I have two, but I think I'll only open one of them. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to be sharing with you. We'll get to it when we get to it. In the meantime, I know you have your project of choice. You have your requisite beverage of whatever, and you are ready to sit down and have a lovely visit. And I'm so excited you're here with me. Okay, today, see, it's been a while. I'm out of practice. It's now time for tea time. Today I am drinking, as you saw, out of my, I like to call this one my Gothic Tinkerbell mug. My lovely sister-in-law gave this one to me. Oh, my tea smells delicious. I'm not sure if I shared this one with you at the end of August or early September. Doesn't matter if I did or not. I'm already drinking it. It is lovely. This is called Market Spice, and it is a lovely blend of, it's a rooibos, so it's decaf. I've already had my caffeine for the day, and if I want to sleep tonight, no more caffeine. So it has rooibos, cinnamon oil, orange peel, and sweet cloves. I'm not sure whether they just dipped the cloves in sugar. I don't know. All I know is this tea tastes like it has sugar in it, but it does not. And this is from the Tea Center, which is a place on Vancouver Island in a place called Courtney. And this one is absolutely delicious. So it's a nice warming tea, perfect for November, December, the holidays. Knitvent. It came, it went. I'm finally getting to share my projects with you. Let us cheer to a lovely visit together because it's been a while. So cheers to our visit today. I am excited to say that even though things have been very hectic around here, getting to school, doing all the assignments, lots of knitting has also been happening here and there, little bits, little pieces. And I'm going to start off with my works in progresses before I get to the wonderful Knitvent projects. This one has been on the needles. I believe I cast it on in early September, maybe late August, and it got put away for a little bit while Knitvent was happening, and I pulled it out the other day. This is a sock project that I had planned on working on the transit, and it certainly got a lot of transit time, but it did get put away while I was working on the Knitvent projects. This is a fun sock pattern that I have created. It's just a very vanilla sock. I've done a 2x2 rib, stockinette down the leg. I have done just a regular straight stockinette heel flap. I have a square heel turn, a lovely gusset, because a sock without a gusset just doesn't fit quite as nicely. Trying to find that gusset for you right there. And then down the foot into a wonderful purple toe. Now I have used the amazing turtle pearl yarns in the What Does It Mean colorway for this little section here. And then I have used a couple of minis. So I have this wonderful purple that I used for the toe, and I used this in my goose eggs throw along with this red that I put in the heel. And these were in my goose eggs throw that was donated to Karina of Louie and Lola Yarns for her breast cancer fundraiser. And so these were a little bit of leftovers that I threw into these socks. And then I have this wonderful self-striping yarn. What does it mean? I'm in the little gray section here, but these rainbows are just everything, aren't they? And those minis match perfectly. So I chose to split from my heel. I've got the red in the rainbow here, the red in the rainbow here, and the heel just sort of fits in nicely there. And then I've got the purple in the center, purple in the center, and then at the end I've got that purple toe. So that is sock 1 done but not blocked. And sock 2, I picked this up earlier this week, and I was just, I think, approaching the heel flap. So I am now through the heel turn, the heel flap, the heel turn, and through the gusset now into the foot. And I'm not too far away. I'm about the rest of this rainbow repeat and a little bit of gray before I add the purple toe. So I am almost finished a pair of socks, and these are going to be for Isaac. They're on a 72 stitch count, and he has very, very big feet, so he will be very happy once these are done. There's actually 2 projects in here that will be gifts. So this one is for Isaac, and there's another one on the couch that is for Nathaniel. He's been looking forward to that one. Hopefully this weekend, I might, very well might, get this done if I don't lose my minis. So one project that is still a work in progress, and I do have a few works in progress that I will be going back to very shortly. But right now, I'm just reveling in the fact that I have lots of finished objects, and then I can put away all the bags and straighten things up. This is a project I started in the summertime, and this is the Snowdrift cowl. It's a pattern by Tracy Arnold, who is the dyer of Nora George Yarns. And I test knit this pattern for her several years ago. I did it in her traditional and modern Christmas colorways, but unfortunately, the cowl that I made my mom, I gave it to her, she loved it, and it's gone missing. So I was tasked with making her another one. And I was using this wonderful yarn by Hedgehog Yarns. It's a zebra colorway. It's a lot of fun, but I wanted to make sure it was going to be long enough because my mother, this is the yarn that I used. It's not focusing. There we are. This is the yarn I used, and I wasn't sure it was going to be long enough. So what I did was I went to the local yarn shop, and I just bought, it's actually a sport weight, but it's an Estelle black, reasonably priced, and it's a little bit thicker. But what I did, because the zebra has those lovely little black highlights, I knew I couldn't go wrong throwing in black on the end. So I think I am now I just need to pick up my provisional cast on, and then I need to graft this together and block it, and then I should block it that way, or sew it together that way. No, I shouldn't. I should do it this way so that the wrong sides are together, shouldn't I? I need to do it properly. Anyway, this will be a cowl that I will send to my mom. It is very possible that I will finish this weekend, get it blocked, and get it into the mail. So we may not see this one again. I'll try and remember to take a photograph so I can share it the next time we visit. But I am happy to say it is almost done. Last time we left off, I had finished to here and I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. I wanted to make sure it was long enough. And I put one of the barber cords in, sat on it for a little while, and then about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I decided that I was going to add the black in. So I am almost done, and as I mentioned, I hope to be finished this weekend, plus the socks this weekend. That'll be a very productive weekend. Speaking of the snowdrift cowl, this is the one that I knit in the summertime, and I did a really terrible blocking of it. I've got an end sticking up. Let's grab the scissors and snip that away. The great thing about I-cord edging is that you can hide your ends in most of the time. This is the same cowl, all blocked, but when I made this, I made it in the summer for my mom, but it was just too short. She doesn't like to be strangled, so this goes around nicely once. However, to put it around twice is a little bit too snug. Might be great to keep your neck warm, but my mom wants it looser than that. I did this one, I believe, on 3.5 millimeter needles, and this one here I did on 4 millimeter needles. So definitely the one that's not finished yet is wider, and especially now that I've added that little black repeat in, it is longer. So this one is now fully done. I am going to gift it. I'm not sure who to, but I am going to gift this one. The colors I used were some minis from Nora George Yarns. This was the Nature collection, and they were really nice to knit through. All of these beautiful colors as they went into this snowdrift cowl. But now at least I have a Christmas knit for someone, as I mentioned, not sure who. I have an idea, but I'm not 100%. Anyway, that is a finished object, and now is the exciting time when I get to share all of the Knitvent projects. In years past, I've been able to share them week by week as they're released, but I kept thinking, oh, I'm going to podcast this week, or I'm going to podcast a couple weeks in. It just didn't happen. So last week I decided I was going to podcast today, and I was going to share all of the finished projects with you. The first project I'm going to share with you was window number 2, and this is the Turkish Delight shawl. Now, Knitvent is 6 patterns that come out in a 5-week period. So 1 week there's 2 patterns, and every other week there's 1 pattern, and they're kind of a mystery before the pattern is released, but then you get to see the pattern and see the sample and the test knits and decide how you want to make your own. Now, I was not going to complete all of the projects. I was actually only going to try and do 4 of this year's Knitvent because school has been, I keep mentioning, my top priority, but I just could not resist casting on window 2. And I did it. I didn't have this one ready in time, but considering I wasn't going to cast it on at all, I did fairly well. Scout wants in. I know, you just have to hold your horses one more moment, and then I will share the Turkish Delight shawl with you. For my Turkish Delight shawl, I read the instructions wrong. And I was thinking that what I needed was 2 skeins of sock weight yarn held double. And I chose out the most lovely color. This is the yarn that I thought was going to be my complete main color. And that is Life's a Jolly Holiday with Mary. And that's a Nora George yarn. Now I held a regular super sock double with a gold sparkle sock. So we had some beautiful gold stellina. This is all I have left of the regular super sock, and I used all of the sparkle sock. I quickly realized, however, I was not going to have enough yarn, so I had to do some problem solving, and I thought that adding in a lovely pink to the last lace section would be exactly what would work. And I'm really quite pleased with how this has turned out, and I'll show it to you in a second. So I needed to find another skein in my stash that would go fairly nicely with the Life's a Jolly Holiday with Mary. And I found this gorgeous skein of blush, which also has a gold stellina in it. So thankfully this had gold in it, and this one did not. But the other Life's a Jolly Holiday that I had with gold stellina, and this gold stellina. Because sometimes you have some gold and then silver and you just make it work. Anyway, this is the Turkish Delight shawl. And let's make sure I've got it the right way for you. And my original thought was that I was going to knit the pink lace, and then I was going to knit the rest in pink here. But then I realized I might be able to pull off most of this last garter section, and I did until I ran out of yarn. And so then I just tacked on this little bit of pink, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and I think it's got that real look of the Turkish Delight colors, and you know, just a little bit of powdered sugar, a little bit of pink in there, and I'm really pleased with how this Turkish Delight shawl has turned out. It is squishy and nicely blocked, lovely, a wonderful pattern. And considering I was not going to knit it, I was very pleased with how quickly I did get it knit up. I was just a little bit off of the deadline, but that's okay. I wasn't going to do it in the first place, so the fact that I did is a bonus. And oh, I just love how this one has turned out. So that is the Turkish Delight shawl. It has lovely little garter sections and then this fun lace. And as I mentioned, I held super sock and a yarn with gold stellina double through here. And then when I got to this section here, what I did was I pulled from the inside and I pulled from the outside of the blush. So then I was able to double these yarns and make some good use of some yarn from my stash. So that was window number 2. Let's get to window 3, 4, and 5 now. And they are all living in the same project bag. I didn't mention my project bag. This is a beautiful Nutcracker themed bag. I believe it's by Luli. Yep, Luli. Right there. And this was gifted to me a couple of years ago, and I love using this one, especially at Knitvent time. Okay, patterns 3, 4, and 5 are all living in my gorgeous So Sweet Violet Happy Christmas Mice bag, celebrating mice. And for these 3 projects, I used some Nora George yarns. I had a 3-set shawl kit, and these were the yarns. Now, they don't have a specific name for each of these. These were from the Gamekeeper's Garden shawl kit from 2019. I think it was August 2019, Shawl Club. And I've had these in my stash for a little bit. It was just so nice to be able to pull these out. So the first one I used was this gorgeous caramely color. And what I did, I've got to find it in here, is I had this beautiful skein of 9-carat. Look at that, it is just shining gold right now. This is 9-carat on mohair lace. This is another Nora George yarns. So this, I decided to, originally I was going to hold it double with the dark brown, but then I held these two together and oh, I was in love. So this became the combination. So the very first pattern, this is pattern number 3. Oops, wrong one, right here. And oh my goodness, all of the names are escaping me, so I may have to cheat. But this is, I'm gonna have to cheat. I know the window numbers. I forget the names of them. I am human, I think. Okay. Hot Spiced Cider, of course. Of course, this is the Hot Spiced Cider cowl, and that was also why I thought these yarns went perfectly together. They just look like that. Nice, warm, hot apple cider. There's a place near my parents' place and they make pressed apple cider. It's so, so delicious. And it's sort of like a brownie pink color, but this to me just screamed hot apple cider. And this is a cozy, cozy cowl, and just, oh, the mohair on it makes it nice and squishy, and just a perfect cowl. Plus, I think it will go really nicely with my coat. I think I might keep it, but I never know. Sometimes I put it away and then I need a gift, but we'll see. Anyway, this is the Hot Spiced Cider cowl. It is absolutely gorgeous, squishy. I did make it with mohair, so if you don't like mohair, you might want to go with a Surrey alpaca or some other blend. I'm going to be covered in mohair, I'm sure, by the end of this podcast, but that's okay. Anyway, this is a beautiful pattern, really quick knit. And it felt so good, especially after spending a lot of time on pattern 1. Once I got pattern 1 done, I went straight to this one. I whipped this one off, and that's when I knew I'd have enough time, sort of, to do pattern 2. I cast it on, and as I said, it was a couple days later than the release date, but I knew I had the Hot Spiced Cider cowl done, so I had that extra little bit of time. Anyway, this is a gorgeous, perfect pattern for gift knitting, and I'm gonna tell you, I used this one again. So I had more yarn, so it took less than a skein. Now, oh, that's the other thing. There were 2 sizes. There was the small, so this is the circumference of the small, and then there's the medium. The medium has 1 more repeat in it, but this is the length of the medium. So I sort of did a little bit of a hybrid. I did the small circumference, but the medium length, and I still had a good amount of yarn left. So if that's something you're thinking you might like to make for a Christmas gift, it is a very, very good idea. And these two just, oh, loved that combination. So that was pattern 3. Pattern 4, oh my goodness. Remember I had held this up before? I really liked this combination with the brown and the gold. So I had extra mohair, and I still have lots of mohair left. I made the beautiful, beautiful, why do I always forget the names? Mouse, something mouse. I always forget the names of the patterns. I have to remember lyrics to songs and lines for scenes. How am I ever supposed to remember names to patterns too? That's, I think, a little bit much, isn't it? Knitvent window 4, Knitvent window 5. Marzipan Mouse. Look at that, I didn't even have to finish looking it up. The Marzipan Mouse hat is this gorgeous, gorgeous hat. Oh my gosh, this pattern is adorable. Nathaniel is going to be so happy that I've podcasted today because he wants this hat. Look at this, it's got these gorgeous ear flaps. Again, I held this brown from the Gamekeeper's shawl club. And look, I've still got enough left. I might be able to make another one, maybe in a small, we'll see. And I've got enough of this. It's a strong possibility I might be able to make one more of these. So this is the Marzipan Mouse hat. This is medium. Usually I do a small hat because my head's small, but I knew I was making this for Nathaniel. Fits me nicely though, so I might have to make a medium for myself. I did not block it because when I block hats, they swim on me. But it's got these gorgeous ear flaps. Because it's got the mohair in it, it is super cushy. And look at these ears. Oh, I want to knit one for myself and pretty much everyone else I know because this hat is everything. Nathaniel is going to be so happy that this one is now finally shared. Anyway, that is the Marzipan Mouse hat. I had this done in 2 days with school, a super quick knit. Of course, the fiddly part, a little bit fiddly with the ears, just some short rows happening, and back and forth, not too hard. Yeah, short rows. And then the ears, same sort of idea, and really not terribly hard to do. So a little bit of a challenge, but fairly easy to do. Anyway, that was, I think, my favorite small pattern out of the collection, because we still have the big showstopper. I can't say that one's my favorite because the showstopper is pretty amazing too, but that one's pretty awesome. And there was one more smaller pattern. This is window 5, and window 5, I'm throwing all the yarns. I used the lightest color from the Gamekeeper's Garden Shawl Club, and look how much I still have left. Plus, I highlighted this with the caramely brown and the dark brown. So I still have, I'm definitely going to be able to use these for something else. I would love to do a Marzipan Mouse hat in this yarn. I'll have to weigh and see how much I have. Anyway, I made the Gingerbread House socks. Look at that, I remembered without having to look it up. And these are the Gingerbread House socks. They are a DK weight sock, which means of course they are super quick to knit. They start off with a 2x2 ribbed cuff. They go down into this lovely little gingerbread house patterning here, stockinette. We have a slip stitch heel flap going into, I think, a half round heel turn. And of course, all socks feel better on your feet when they've got a gusset into the foot and the toe. So again, I used the caramel for the cuff, the dark brown for the toe, and this lovely, that was a fun one to knit with too, light color from the Gamekeeper's Garden. So all of those have been living in this bag waiting for me to be able to share them with you. And these are definitely cozy socks, and I took them to school with me because I was working on them, and people just kept coming and squishing them because they are so squishy and lovely. Window 5. Now let's go to window 6 of Knitvent. This one was just released this past Thursday, and it has also been in a lovely So Sweet Violet Christmas bag. This was from, I want to say this was from one of the Advent boxes that Jules did, but it may have been a Christmas kit. But this was one of her beautiful Christmas bags. And this is the only project that I didn't use Nora George yarns. Instead, I used this gorgeous silk merino lace, and this is by Hedgehog Fibers. This is the colorway Hunter. Now, I have used this colorway before for it's a boo knit shawl, sort of a Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz sort of themed one, I think it was. Over the Rainbow, I think it was called, something like that. And I just absolutely loved this colorway. And when we lived in Toronto, whenever my mother would go to the theater, she would come by our house and she would often borrow my green shawl made with this yarn. So I had an extra skein. and it was a gorgeous beaded shawl. I had some beads, this skein, and this shawl along with the cowl. I shared with you that I still have to finish. These two things are going to be heading off to my mom. This is the Cranberry Fizz shawl pattern. Mine is definitely not looking like a cranberry. It is looking more like a lime cordial, and I'm okay with that. But this gorgeous skein of Hunter knit up so beautifully, and oh, just, I love how the Hedgehog merino silk or silk merino drapes, and those beads, just perfect for Christmas. This will be great for my mother to go to the theater with, I think. So this pattern, because I used lace, this is a pattern that for Helen's version, she used a fingering weight yarn, so a heavier yarn with the beads. I decided to go with the lace weight, and I added one extra repeat of the beading. Very easy to adapt, and as you can see, this was a 100-gram skein. I have 50 grams left, so I only used half of the skein. And this is a nice size shawl. I was a little bit worried that it might be a little bit small, but it's got a nice size drape on it. And let's see if I can, it goes down my back fairly nicely as well. So I am pleased with how this one turned out. So I'm going to pop that into the mail for my mom so she can go to the theater with her new hunter green silk merino shawl with beautiful pearlescent beads on it. So that was window number 6, the final Knitvent 2023 release. And oh, this year's collection was pretty amazing. I was surprised, 3 shawls. I know we haven't got to the first one yet. And then 3 nice, small, easy to handle projects. Now, originally, my plan had been to only do the Marzipan Mouse hat, the hot spiced cider cowl, and the lovely socks, but then I couldn't resist the first shawl. And then when I finished everything, I had time, so I thought, oh, I'll do the last shawl as well. Okay, let us get to the showstopper. Can I remember the name of it? No. Okay, so right now, in my program, I am trying to remember a scene from Freaky Friday. I am trying to remember the lyrics from Memory from Cats, plus the lyrics from Little Girls, plus I'm doing the lyrics from Peas in a Pod. So I think, or the lyrics of Peas in the Pod from Grey Gardens. So, too much stuff going on in my brain. Plus I had a presentation today and all the music theory. If I forget the name of a beautiful shawl, it's gonna happen. Okay, that's what the trusty iPad and thankfully Instagram and Ravelry are for, so I can say, oh yes, that's the name. And of course I'll read it and I'll say, of course it is. Okay, this is the showstopper, the big project of Knitvent 2023. This is the mini project. I'm stalling for time right now because, you know, this is called the Trifle Wrap. Of course it is. I love trifle. I should have remembered this one. My neighbor loves when I make trifle. Okay, this is the Trifle Wrap. It uses the mini, so if you have an advent kit or if you've got a bunch of leftover yarns, you wanna go stash diving, whatever it is, this is the mini project for you. And I will tell you, where is my jar of yarn? Here it is. These are the yarns that I used for my Trifle Wrap. I used 4 mini sets. I knew I was not going to have it done on time for release if I went for the full 24. So I've got 20 minis in mine. And look, I hardly had any of my 20-gram minis left when I was done. I've put these in this jar and I'm glad I was able to share them with you. I'm going to be giving these to someone to use for their quilting. They want to use it to bind up the quilts or sew them up, like the little sewing in the middles. So these are the 20 colors I used. I used 4 characters of literature sets from Nora George Yarns, and let's see if I can remember as I go through. Let's see this gorgeous trifle wrap, which has been in my wonderful Bags from Awesome Granny Haunted House bag for quite some time, waiting for us to visit. I also held these double with Hedgehog Yarns merino silk, and I love Jane's merino silk. I've ordered some more as well because it's always great to have on hand. Oh my goodness. My trifle wrap is only 20 minis, but it is still absolutely huge. Okay, so let's see how I do on this one. The mini sets that I used, the first 5 minis were from the Sound of Music Great Characters of Literature Club. So this one is Raindrops on Roses, Whiskers on Kittens, Bright Copper Kettles, Warm Woolen Mittens, and this one here is Brown Paper Packages. The next set, I think, goes to the purple, and I am not going to be able to remember the names of each individual one, but the set itself was the Murder on the Orient Express. That's the train one, right? Yes. Great Characters of Literature set, and that was this gorgeous sort of gray. The only problem was I didn't plan this out. These 2 minis were different enough, but together they look very, very similar. Maybe they'll actually look a little bit more different on the camera, because oftentimes the camera does pick up those little slight variations. They are not the same yarn. They are 2 different minis, but it is what it is, and I guess I should have thought about that when I was doing the placement. Anyway, this is the Murder on the Orient Express. I think this one is red kimono, and I can't remember any of the others, but this purple is absolutely gorgeous. The next 5, so the yellow through to this blue, these were from the Chronicles of Narnia mini set, and I know there's a Mr. Tumnus in there, and Aslan. Oh, maybe it goes down to the gold because that one's Aslan, and I think this one is the White Witch, and then maybe this one's the Wardrobe, something like that, and then there was light. Greg has just come home and turned the light on for me, and then this last one here is Grease. So we had the Pink Ladies is, I believe, this one at the end. I want to say this one's Blue Moon, and I think this one's here is Rizzo, and this one in the middle is Summer Night. So I did remember the minis, but oh my goodness, this is an epic trifle wrap, and I absolutely love it, and I'm so happy that I finally shared it with you because now I can wear it, and it is cozy, and this is 20 minis, and it's still really, really huge. So I have plans to knit another one. I'm not quite sure how big I'm going to make that one, but I'm going to share the yarns that I'm going to use with you I'm not going to use my yarns with you. I'm going to use them for myself, and then I'm going to keep that one. I love to share, but not that much. Anyway, I will share the yarns that I am going to use for my next trifle wrap because I did enjoy this very much, and they are in a brown paper package that we will share in the next segment. But my gorgeous trifle wrap, I'm finally sharing this with you, and I am so excited to finally be able to do that because now I can wear it because we're getting into December very, very soon, and those mornings are cold. I am going to be so cozy. Nathaniel is going to be so cozy. I am starting to get set for Christmas gifts and things, because now that I have shared these with you, I can start integrating these into all of the wardrobes. Anyway, that feels really good to share. Let us move on to our next segment, and I've got to run upstairs and get something else to share with you for that segment too. It's now time for brown paper packages, and I know I have absolutely no business buying any more yarn. I have enough. I had a great time stash diving during Knitvent, and I generally during Knitvents do try to do as much stash diving as possible. But that Trifle Wrap, captured my heart, and I knew that I wanted to do something special with it. So I have purchased a couple of things. So the first thing is right here. I saw this on the Hedgehog yarn site, and Jane, it's always so lovely to order packages from Jane. So Jane of Hedgehog Yarns had this wonderful baby yak cloud, and let me pop on my glasses so I can tell you what the fibers are. So it is 42% baby alpaca, 10% yak, 35% mulberry silk, and 13% fine merino. This is 400 grams right here. And I just love the fact that it is sort of this very light, soft brown. And oh, doesn't it look just so squishy, squishy, squishy. So I ordered a few of these because I know I'm going to need a lot to do another Trifle Wrap. So I've got my merino yak, and I have a brown paper package, brown paper box that I am now going to open. This has been waiting so patiently for me to sit down and podcast, spend some time with you, and I just wanted to share this with you. So as I was knitting the Trifle Wrap, I knew I wanted to make another one, and I wanted to use the wonderful Enchanted Forest box that I bought from Beehive Yarns just before we moved from Toronto to Vancouver. So that was 2 years ago, so 2021. And oh, this has a pull tab. So I wanted to get this year's Halloween box, and my original plan was to put the 2021 Halloween box with this year's Wednesday Halloween box. And here is my wonderful parcel. Plus I have an extra lovely goodie that I'm going to share with you that I'm pretty sure I've got some very special plans for this one. And here is the Wednesday Halloween box. Now I know it is now November 24th. I'm not spoiling anything at this point other than making a big mess in my house. These are going to be everywhere. It's me cleaning up anyway. Inside the box, this lovely lollipop. That's a fun one, isn't it? I hope it's not licorice. I don't like licorice. I'll have to give it away if it is. Anyway, so inside is this lovely Wednesday, and it's got all the colors. Now, I did see a spoiler online, so I will pop a spoiler picture of what these all look like, because they are absolutely gorgeous. Look at this. There's some berry burst tea. There are some black tea light candles, lots of little goodies. So this is what I ended up, oh, there's even fun little Halloween-y stickers. Yeah, so we're at November 28th. I don't think I've spoiled this for anybody. And I haven't even started opening up the lovely little colorways. But as I mentioned, I did see them online after I purchased them, and I am so excited to knit my Trifle Wrap in these beautiful purples, blacks, grays. So I popped the photograph up. I'm not so excited to be cleaning this all off the floor in a little bit, but maybe I shouldn't have thrown them around in the first place. Oh well. Okay, So Wednesday, I'm throwing Lollipop down too. Wednesday box, I'm going to be knitting into a trifle wrap, and I'm going to be holding those yarns double. I didn't do the Ziploc up with my lovely baby yak cloud yarn. So I think that's going to look really neat. This held double with those dark, moody colors, and that's going to be a fun wrap. But I can't just be all dark all the time. I had to order something really wonderful from Beth of Beehive Yarns. And I believe that this is going to be the yarn. So I just had to podcast today because I needed to open this parcel because I'm going to be casting on a very special test knit very soon. And I need this yarn for that test knit. So if you've been with me the past few years, you know what I knit at this time of the year. And I'm always so excited too. From Wednesday to celebrate. Look at this absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous skein. Yes, this is going to be a gorgeous yarn for the test knit I am going to do. For December, you know, some of you might like to cast it on, you know, a month from today. Today's the 24th of November. So I will be working on my test knit so that maybe you can enjoy seeing a couple samples knit in different colorways. And Celebrate is going to be one of them. Celebrate Christmas, yes. November. Oh, anyway, that I've been patiently waiting to open was one of the lovelies that came in my parcel from Beehive Yarns. So yes, I will be casting that on hopefully maybe this weekend. I have the pattern. I just need to get my needles out and sit down, start knitting. And now I have my yarn, just need to wind it up. I had thought about maybe getting this on a sparkle, but I went with the regular Audrey base, which is a 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. But oh, too pretty. As I mentioned, with school, I have absolutely no business buying any more yarn, but I knew I wanted something special for my test knit that's coming up, and this one really fit the bill. And as soon as I started knitting the trifle wrap, I knew I just needed to do another one, but I wanted to do it in those moody Halloween-y colors. So I'm not sure that I will combine my 2021 Halloween kit with this year's Wednesday kit because I don't think they quite go together as nicely as I would like them to. But I am really looking forward to knitting, especially those dark Wednesday colors with this being held double. I think that's going to be absolutely so squishy and so spectacular. I just need to decide whether maybe I take a repeat off so it's a little bit narrower and longer and just use the 13 colors, or maybe I pull some of the colors out of the 2021 Halloween box. I'm not sure. I will figure it out. But in the meantime, I have some lovely yarns that will get wound up very soon, and we are coming up on December and a bit of a school break for me. I see lots of knitting in my future, and that is definitely a good thing. It's now time for Bits and Bobs, and this is my segment where I talk about anything and everything not necessarily knitting related. And I am now 6 school days away from completing my first semester in the 3-year musical theater diploma program that I am doing. And I've almost made it to the end of the semester. That is huge. I mean, there were days that I wasn't sure I was going to even make it through the first week. I still have a lot of challenges with dancing. Today I had my tap class and I had some difficulty doing a heel flap movement across the floor. We were doing just these steps, and whenever we go across the floor, I sometimes get a little bit confused. It's not easy. And at one point, I looked at the teacher and I said, "You just saw a unicorn crossing the room." Because we were doing like almost like a galloping kind of thing. I said, "That was a unicorn crossing the room. Aren't you so lucky to have seen that?" But yes, definitely the dance is challenging. I mentioned the songs that I've been working on. So I am for my juries, which will happen in early to mid-December. I will be doing either Little Girls from Annie or Memory from Cats. So I have to prepare both of those. I go in and they tell me which of those two I will be singing, and I've got a 7-minute block that I will present one of those two songs, but they both have to be done. I have a duet that I'm doing next week with a partner from a musical called Grey Gardens, and I am doing a scene from the movie Freaky Friday with another scene partner. I'm having a lot of fun in the program, but it is definitely a lot of hard work. I've got a ton of homework to do this weekend, plus a quiz. I did a presentation earlier today. I've also been doing nighttime dance classes to help support my dancing, and I've been doing Pilates every week as well because I need to work on my physical well-being as well as my own mental well-being in order to get through this program. But it is definitely, I'm being successful, and that makes me very happy. But it does mean that I don't get to sit down and enjoy spending a bit of time with you as often as I would like. However, I am fitting in that knitting, which is super important, and I'm needing that for my own mental health. Projects that I have on the horizon, I have 2 bits and bobs blankets. One of them I want to have done as a Christmas gift. So December is going to be focusing on the bits and bobs, focusing on the wonderful test knit that Celebrate is going to make. Oh, I cannot wait. So we will definitely have a podcast in December because I've got to share that project with you because it's going to be amazing. I am going to finish off the Snowdrift cowl, hopefully this weekend, get it blocked, and then along with the Cranberry Fizz shawl, get those into the mail to my mom. I'd like to make some more of those. I want to do everything. I want to fit everything in, but how? I had all the stash upstairs and then I add to it. I know, it's I want to do all the things. Anyway, everyone is well. Isaac is enjoying his program. He has auditioned for a couple of shows in the summer. We're just waiting to hear whether he's got callbacks and what's happening with that. Nathaniel is enjoying his first year of high school. Greg is keeping busy, and we are all doing well. So I think that's all I have for bits and bobs right now. I'm sure as soon as I shut this section down and get everything uploaded, I'll remember something else. But there's the incentive to podcast soon in December as well. But I've got to get some more knitting done. I'm also hoping to get those socks done. So maybe I'll have that to share with you the next time we sit down. So I think that is all for bits and bobs. Things happening on the river. I'm not home enough to see any of the animals around here. I leave really early in the morning, and Fridays I get home a little bit earlier, which is why we are podcasting today. But there were ducks on the river today, but they weren't all that interesting. Anyway, that is all I have for bits and bobs today. Thank you so much for joining me on Knitting on the Float this week, or I guess rather this month, this season. You know, it's been a while. Anyway, I'm so glad that we finally had a chance to sit down. I enjoyed sharing all of the Knitvent projects with you. I hope you loved them as much as I have. I do have plans to knit another trifle shawl, plus, oh my goodness, that hat. I have to make some more of those hats because those Marzipan Mice hats are absolutely adorable. So there are plans for other things. Well, I am hoping that we will be visiting very soon. I'm excited to show you what this is going to become in the next little while. But until we visit again, I am wishing you a wonderful couple of weeks. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your November, and it is almost Advent season. It is almost time to start opening those daily treats in December. If you've bought yourself an Advent kit, I may have cracked and I may have bought myself an Advent kit this year. Kind of along the lines of the lovely beehive yarns. Oh, they were based on sweets. I couldn't resist. I don't have it yet, hence no brown paper package to share with you, but in December I will have that. And I'm not sure what I'm going to knit with that Advent kit, but yes, I've been a little bit naughty. Perhaps it's a little bit stress of going back to school. I gotta stop buying more yarn. Anyway, I am wishing you a wonderful rest of November into early December, and I look forward to visiting with you very soon. Have a wonderful day, evening, whatever time it is for you. Bye. I have picked up all of the little bits of wonderful Halloween box goodie spillage all around me. And in the process, I'm not kidding, I actually vacuumed just a couple of days ago, but there are now new bits of fluff from Scout on the ground in amongst all of the fun Halloween confetti. Trying to stay on top of everything. Anyway, throwing things on the ground is probably not the smartest thing to do, but it was kind of fun. See you soon. Bye. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not.